Students, good morning, all of you. I hope you all have enjoyed your winter vacation. But now we're gonna start our chapter, that is motion. Now get ready to prepare for your final exam. I hope you all were preparing for that. Okay, so in this chapter, the topics which we're gonna cover are introduction about motion, slow and fast motion, distance, speed, distance time graph, and odometer. So what do we mean by motion? If you ask the literal meaning of motion, it is nothing but movement, moving from one place to another. So that's like very simple terms. That's how we can define motion. But when it comes to physics, when it comes to science, how do we define motion? We say that it is a change of position with time. Now that sound a little more scientific. So what does this mean? So let us take an example. So you take an example of the fan, where you switch on the fan. What happens? It makes you feel cool. Why it does happen? Because the blades of the fan are continuously moving. So if you look at this picture right now, what is the position? Let's number the blades. So this is blade number 1, this is blade number 2, this 3, this is 4, and this is 5. So these are the 5 blades of the fan. Now when switch it on, what happened? It starts moving. So just observe the position of the blades. So right now the position of 1 is here, but as soon as it start moving, what happened? Same blade 1 it's changing its position with time. So as time is passing by, the position is also changing. So then we say that the blades of the fan are in motion. That means it is moving. Now we will take the example of a moving car. When a car is at rest, so whether you assume it a toy car or a real car, so when the car is at rest, so what happens? It is at a particular position. For example, let us say that right now the car is at rest and it is the position of, let's say the A is the position of the car. So it is at point A of the road and it is not moving. But what happens when it starts moving? Now when this car starts moving, its position changes. So initially it was here and now it is somewhere here. So it is known as a position B. So the position of car changes from A to B with time. As time is passing by, with every second passing by, the position of the car is moving. So first it was at A. At certain point of time it was at this point, then at this point it was here. So as time is passing by, the position of the car is also changing. So what do we say? That the car is in motion. Now let's look at the other example. So a motion is not something which is related to object. Even we move. So anything that is moving, anything which undergoing the change of position with time is said to be in motion. Okay. For example, when we play, so while playing, you are running, obviously you are in motion because your position is changing with time. Your hands are moving, your legs are moving. So obviously you are in motion. While running again, what happens when you run? You move from one position to another. So you are in motion. Now let us take this example when you are sitting on a chair and you are working on your laptop. Now in this case, your body is not in motion because you're not changing your position. But if you are concentrate on your fingers, what happens? When you are working on your laptop, your fingers are moving. So the position of the fingers are changing with time. So fingers are in motion. Think of a bird. So a bird flying from one place to another, so that is nothing but motion. Think of a lady dancing. So when you dance, again you move your hands, you move your legs, you move your body, so everything is changing with time. So again you have said that they are in motion. So okay, these are some common example of the motion which we see around us. Now let's talk about a little more higher level. So let's talk about the motion of the earth. So the entire earth is itself is again in motion. How the earth is moving? Let's have a look. So we all know that earth is a planet. So this is the sun in this picture. This is the sun and this is the earth. Now earth, sun is all obviously bigger, but here we are showing that earth is nearer to us, so we are able to see it big, and sun is quite far. Okay, so now this earth, it moves around the sun. So in that case, what happens? There is a changes in the position of the earth, and with time, so the earth is in motion, and also the earth rotate around its own axis. So that means the earth rotate like this. So that ways each point on the earth is also undergoing a change in its position with time. So let us try to understand this even better. So basically the movement of the earth around its own axis. So the blue line which you see is the axis of the earth. So the movement of the earth around its own axis, it is called rotation, and the movement of the earth around the sun, that is called revolution. So it is revolving around the sun. So these are the two different terms which are used for these two type of movement in earth context. So let's say this is the earth, okay, and this is the sun. So here what happened is the earth move around its axis, as you saw just now. This type of movement it is moving around its axis, so that is rotation. So there also we see that each point on the earth, a point which was here, when it started moving, for example, when it started moving, so that particular point is also changing its position with time. So it is in motion. Again, the same earth at the same time also moving around the sun. So when it is moving around the sun, it's obviously its position is changing from one point to another point with time. So both rotation and revolution of the earth take place simultaneously. So as the earth move around the sun, at the same time it is also revolving around its own axis. So this shows that the earth is also continuously in motion because its position is changing with time. So that is the another example. Okay. So these are all example of motion. Another very important example of motion is the pendulum. So this is the classic example. Here we see again the different type of motion also. So have you observe a wall clock in your house? So these type of clocks are more common in the olden days, where pendulum hanging here and it keeps moving in a particular form. Okay, so this is how the pendulum moves. So if you have a pendulum like this, a string kind of a thing, a thin thread like structure, and at the bottom you have a bigger mass, a ball like structure. So in fact you can try to make a simple pendulum with a stone and a thread. Take a stone, tie it with a thread, and then hold it the thread at this point. Okay, so you then just give it a little jerk or a push, and then what happens, it keeps moving like this. So this type of motion of the pendulum. So this is also motion, because if you look at the position is changing from here to here, and again it's coming back to here and here, right? So it is basically the changing its position in a particular form. So what kind of position it is? Like what kind of motion is it is? Moving here, coming back, moving again here, and then coming back to this point. So this point is known as the mean position. So this is called the mean position, and these two positions are called extreme position. So these two are called extreme position. So basically it moves from mean position to extreme towards another extreme position and then come back. And then this motion is repeated over a period of time. So it is like a periodic motion, because the entire motion is repeated in a periodic intervals of time, and this type of motion is known as oscillatory motion, and this is called oscillation. So what is one oscillation? So moving from here to here, coming back, and then again coming back here. So this complete cycle is termed as one oscillation. So oscillatory motion is a periodic in nature. Why periodic? Because it repeats itself. So if you look at this motion, this one oscillation from here to here and then again coming back to here, that is one oscillation. So this one oscillation, this motion keep on repeating. So that is why it is called periodic motion, because it takes place in periodic intervals of time. And the time taken to complete one oscillation is known as time period. Time period is very important parameter of a pendulum. So time period is equal to time taken to complete one oscillation, or to take time taken for one oscillation. So whatever time it take to complete this one oscillation, that is known as time period of a pendulum. So for a particular pendulum, the time period is constant, because all the oscillation are going to be the same, all the oscillation are going to be repeat. It's a periodic. So time period of a particular pendulum will remain the same, and this time period depends on the length of the pendulum. So what is the length of the pendulum? That is the length of this thread which you have used. Okay, so it is an interesting example of the motion. It is called a oscillatory motion. Now when we talk about motion, we already took a couple of examples where we saw that some object move in a straight path, some object move in a circular path, but all are they called motion because they are changing their position with time. Now here motion is a relative term. What do we mean by motion is relative? That means motion of an object is always with respect to some frame of reference. What is frame of reference? Now whenever we talk about motion, it is always with respect to something else. For example, let us look at this example here. Let's say that these people, they are standing at the bus stop waiting for a bus. Now there is a bus which just moves by. Okay, so when this if the bus moving, yes, the bus is moving, because the position of the bus is changing with time. So initially the bus was here and now the bus is here. So bus is moving, of course, but the bus is moving with respect to these people who are standing at the bus stop, because they can see that it changes its position with time. Now if you look at the same bus, let's assume that you are not standing at the bus stop, rather you are sitting inside the bus. So you are inside the bus, let's say. Now if you are inside the bus, do you see that bus is changing its position with time? Not really. So for somebody who is sitting inside the bus is at rest. For somebody who is standing outside, the bus is in motion. So we are talking about the same object, but one in front frame of reference, it is moving, but with reference to some other thing, it is in motion. So this is what we mean by relative. Okay, so I hope you all have understand this concept of relative term. This is called relative nature of motion. That is why we say that motion is a relative term. So whenever we say that this particular object is in motion, that means it is motion with respect to something. So now that we have learned about motion, there are many different type of motion. I have already given you the example of oscillatory motion, the motion of a simple pendulum. Now next let's look at the another motion, that is rectilinear motion. Now linear means something which is along a straight line. So motion along a straight line, that is called rectilinear motion. And one simple example of rectilinear, one example is a car moving along a straight line, along a straight path. So this is an example of rectilinear motion. Now you see that there are different type of motion and they are so much different from each other. So like rectilinear like this. So whereas when you talk about the oscillatory motion, which is nothing but a periodic to and fro motion, that is like this. Correct? So that is oscillatory motion. Now the question is, how do we describe the motion of an object? How do we describe that how exactly a particular object is moving? Because there are many different ways in which the object can move. Now, as I have mentioned before, that whenever we talk about motion, two important things are position and time. So these are the two most important things. Okay, both these parameters are included in the definition of motion also. So in order to describe the motion, position needs to be defined. That is very, very important, because only when you know the position of an object, you will be able to judge if the position has changed with time or not. The position needs to be very clear. Now, what is position? It is nothing but a point at which the object is located at a particular instant of time. So let's look at this example. You see the little boy on a cycle. So right now the boy is at rest. So let's say the boy is located at this particular location. Location is this A, but at a particular instant of time. But when it started moving, it starts cycling. What happens? And as it keeps moving from this position A, its position changing with time, and finally it has reached this position. It is called B, and the time has also passed by during this period. So that means the time also changed, and the position and the location of an object also change. So this location is termed as position. Okay, so now in this case we could really say that motion has take place with the change in the position, because we have defined the initial position. So therefore we can define the final position is same as the initial position, or it is different than the initial position. So knowing the position is very, very important. Now when we talk about motion, another important thing is movement, because we are talking about movement and position. So when it comes to movement, something which is very common being used in our daily to day life, that is fast and slow. Now how do we know which object is fast and which object is moving slow? So how exactly do we define that? How we determine that? What determines the speed of motion? That is where we introduce speed. So we will talk about the speed little later, but in this picture, what do you see? You observe that the blue car was fast and the red car was slow. So why this is called a fast? Because it quickly changed its position. So in a very short interval of time, it reached from the position A to position B. But the red car took more time from going to change its position from A to B. So that is where the concept of fast and slow. So let's look at this. How do we determine which is faster? The distance moved by object in a given interval of time decide which one is faster or slower. So let's look at this example. So you have a bike and you have a cycle. So these are the two vehicles which you had. Now if you want to compare which of these are two faster, so let's compare this two vehicles. So let's say that we fix a time interval. Let's say we fix a time interval of 5 minutes, and then we just observe how much distance is covered by this bike and how much distance is covered by this bicycle. Now what we see is that in 5 minutes this bike could cover a distance of around, just take an example, let's say it's covered 3 kilometers. And let's say the bicycle covered 2 kilometers. So bike cover more distance as compared to cycles. That means the bike is faster. So the bike is travel faster, so it could cover more distance in the same time when compared to bicycle. So this is how we can determine the fast or slow. So it is like the rate of change of position with time. So when we are talking about motion, we're going to talk about the change in position also with time. So when we talk about the faster or slower of speed of a vehicle, we are actually talking about the rate at which the position is changing with time. How fast or how slow the position is changing. So that is how we can say the bike is faster and cycle is slower. So this is where we introduce the term speed. When we talk about fastness and slowness, we have to introduce speed. So what is the speed? It is the rate at which an object's cover distance. That is how faster or how quicker the object is capable of cover a distance with time. Speed is a scalar quantity. What is a scalar means? A quantity which needs magnitude for its definition, for just a value. So we say the speed of a vehicle is 5 meter per second. So we do not need any direction. So this type of quantity is called a scalar quantity. You will learn about more about scalar and vector in your high classes. So as I said, speed is nothing but a distance covered by time taken. So this is how we calculate speed of an object. So let us take an example of a car. So if we say that this car travel a 50 kilometer in 1 hour. So let us say it travel 50 kilometer in 1 hour. So what would be the speed of the car? So the speed of the car is it is actually distance upon time, that is 50 divided by time taken, that is 1 hour. So basically its speed is 50 kilometer per hour. So that is how we define speed. Now any object which has higher speed moves very fast because it's traveling more distance over a specific period of time. Any object which has lesser value of speed is traveling at a slower speed. So it has a slow motion. So that is about speed. So let us look at one more example. So let us look at this example where this boy is trying to travel from his home to the McDonald's. Okay. So the boy is on bicycle. So this little boy is moving, or he is traveling from this home to McDonald's. And this is the travel time of this boy is 10 minutes. So it takes 10 minutes from his house to McDonald's. And the distance between his house and McDonald's is 2 kilometers. Okay. Now, if I ask you to calculate the speed with which the boy is moving, how will you do that? So the speed is equals to distance upon time, which is 2 kilometers, divided by time, which is it took 10 minutes. So if you convert it into a hour, that means 10 by 60 hours. So this is going to be 12 kilometers per hour. So this is the speed with which the boy was moving when he traveled from his home to the McDonald's. So this define, what does this 12 kilometer per hour means? Literally it means that the boy travel in 1 hour 12 kilometer. But actually he travel only 2 kilometer. But speed tell us that okay, this is the rate at which he move. So had he traveled for 1 hour, he would have covered the 12 kilometer. It gives you the rate. It gives you the distance with which the person could have covered in 1 hour or in 1 second or in 1 minute. So with respect to whatever unit of time. So that is how we calculate speed. So we will discuss this more in our next video, and we'll discuss graphical representation of motion in our next part. Thank you, students.